Last night, after Donald Trump learned that his latest offer was rejected by the Democrats, I went to the Casino. And guess who came into the Casino? Not Sirloin, but the Temple of Doom's hairdresser. Sat next to me, and I said, "Oh, I recognize you from the closed circuit camera." Uh, can you explain to me why Mitch McConnell couldn't get any stimulus package done for the American people, Miss Hairdresser from San Francisco? She said, yes, he couldn't cut it. I said, why, why did he simply not figure out how to get this stimulus package done? She said, all he did was take shortcuts. When he tried to deal with the virus and crushing the virus, why did Mitch McConnell really not get it right? She said, because he never got to the roots. Ultimately, as I looked to her and I said, is there any way that we can get anything done by stimulus with Mitch McConnell before the election? She says, no, all he tries to do is supercuts. Good morning, everybody. It's Sunday morning. I'm here, you're here, and the toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, and the coffee's brewing. It's a good Sunday morning across the country as heat, weather, and strange tropical forms continue to develop across the country. But I hope you're safe and your family is good. Go to the Funnest channel, subscribe. We're trying to reach 290,000 subscribers, and we're almost there. So if you've not subscribed to this channel, make sure you do, and hit that alert button on the Funnest channel so you get alert when a new video goes live. Also, today's videos will be on time, unlike the last 2 days, which we've had a lot of processing troubles. Also, like this video. There is a lot of breaking developments this morning, and I really appreciate you for tuning in with your cat and your dog. I love the DMs and private messages you sent me on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook overnight that showed pictures of your cats and dogs that watched this video and these telecasts throughout the day. 4 hours of programming today. Coming up at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time is 28, and then 3:30 Pacific Standard Time, which is 6:30 Eastern Standard Time, continues afternoons LALATE. Let me get to what's coming up in this recording across the board. First, we have the latest details on the death of any legislative path to get you stimulus by the time of the election, but the renewed hopes for executive orders. Second, I'll be going over that Trump rally yesterday, which sort of refocuses what the president may or may not do. Second, I will be going over the Temple Doom's response to what happened yesterday. Third, I will have some grant money for you, free money, grant money. These are locally across the country, but they're an example of what the delegates of this channel can do for you. Lots of grants just announced within the last 24 hours. Fourth, I'm going to go to really the focus of what could be happening for you in a matter of a few days. If there is a Democratic landslide, what will this mean for your stimulus package, and when would you get stimulus relief? We have to deal with this question right now. Fifth, McConnell. What's going to happen to Mitch McConnell? Yesterday's broadcast of McConnell was one of our most watched. I mean, this is shocking because it's in the time slot of where unemployment is, which is one of our lesser watched videos, and that was a blockbuster. I will go over what's going on with McConnell and his future and how it impacts stimulus. Finally, is conservatism dying? A new report. It's not a news report, it's an opinion report out of Bloomberg that says that what's happening in London and England and what's going to happen in the United States, alleged potentially, is an indication of how Republicans did not deal with stimulus appropriately, and now it could be coming back to hurt them. All right, let me get to the breaking news. The breaking news as we sit here this morning is, if you turn on Morning Sunday News, which I've always covered on this channel, you're not hearing Pete Navarro talking. You're not hearing Larry Kudlow talking. You're not hearing Steve Mnuchin talking. You're not hearing Mark Meadows talking. You're not hearing Mitch McConnell talking. In fact, by the time of this recording, perhaps some of them may talk, but generally, all the voices and bodies involved with second stimulus have simply gone silent. You can go days on end and look and see that there's been virtually no quotes from any of them for upwards of 24 to 48 hours. This is suggestive that they don't see that what they have attempted to do has worked. Next, a Trump rally was held yesterday, and at that Trump rally, again, the president did not speak about stimulus. He held a Trump rally on the balcony of the White House, and he said, and at the time, his doctor Sean Connolly said, the president is now having decreasing viral loads, does not show any evidence of the virus actively replicating, and move forward. I'll continue to clinically examine him. Of course, when asked when the president had recently taken a COVID-19 test and what type of treatment, the medical physician would not answer. Now, this is actually important to what's coming up later in this broadcast, because apparently this lack of transparency by Democrats as to their COVID-19 situation is not doing well in the polls and ultimately is hurting your ability to get second stimulus. Trump said it's disappearing, but again, that's a vague statement, and it's not from the doctor. I want you to know our nation is going to defeat this terrible China virus, but in the next statement you're going to see from the Temple Doom, she said these are just statements but no path. Let me get to the Temple Doom statement overnight. The Temple Doom said that the problem with the proposal from Steve Mnuchin and the reason why she rejected it is it still doesn't crush the virus. Ultimately, you and I know that doesn't mean much of anything. In fact, I don't even know what it means. You know, a bill that gives salary raises to government officials, how does that crush the virus at all? But I have more details about where she was at for purposes of stimulus. She had offered a earned tax credit, a child tax credit, a child care allocation, and an unemployment insurance supplement, FPUC. Now let me explain to you what she says as to FPUC. Contains strong funding to protect the 5 million workers at risk of exhausting all their regular unemployment insurance or pandemic unemployment assistance before January 31st. Now, again, this is very vague. I mean, I really don't even know what that means when I read the sentence. What it seems to suggest, and again, I'm just interpreting her words because her words are written basically, you know, like a high school, like not even a high school, a grade school student, that it sounds like she wants to extend the number of weeks of UI and FP and PUA. That would refer to FPEUC, and I get that question all the time from viewers, that FPEUC was created under CARES Act 1 and gave you a certain number of weeks for benefits that extended your normal weeks of benefits. Let me back up. Normally, when you go on unemployment or PUA, you have a certain number of weeks. And then a state can add additional weeks, those are called extended benefits. FPUC under CARES Act 1 gave you additional weeks, but that's expiring as well. So this word seems to suggest she was going to give you additional weeks. Again, nowhere in the statement by the Temple Doom does it talk about stimulus checks. Nowhere does it talk about the amount of stimulus checks. Nowhere does it talk about the amount of FPUC. What's important to understand here, as I sit here today, is we're not dealing with false narratives and we're not dealing with false paths. I've reported to you for the last 24 hours that all attentions of the purple power, and this is what's so great, that we are literally informed, we're educated, and we're laser focused that the congressional path for stimulus is effectively dead before this election. 1, there's not enough time. 2, there's no path. 3, there's no support. If you didn't see the last night's broadcast, and I know it's just they were going up at crazy ass times, and I just apologize. What's happened is that the Senate's closed to October, mid-October. The Republicans in the Senate have told the White House, we're not supporting even a $1.8 trillion your last offer. You're too high. Temple Doom wants him to go even higher. Not going to happen. So basically you have no one agreeing upon nothing. That's like a double negative. And you also have a Senate closed. To pass a bill, it has to pass the House, the Senate, and be signed by the President. Well, guess what? Of 2 of those groups, none of them are agreeing to anything. So legislatively, I'm not going to spend my airtime or my oxygen level or your coffee drinking time on talking about something that simply does not seem to happen. So what's important to understand is executive orders. The president can do executive orders. The president has money to do executive orders. And I will be getting to that shortly. But that's where the focus of of all these recordings will remain. Also, they'll remain on getting you money. And here you go, get it ready, get a pen and paper. Now, as I announce grants, I want to make something very clear. The purpose of this channel is to get people money for any path that you qualify for. And ultimately, I have a lot of different viewers with a lot of different walks of life. I have people on SSDI and SSI. I have people that have husband and wife and one employee businesses. I have a single mom with 3 kids. I have all different type of employees. So please, in the spirit of the Purple Power, be respectful of other people because they may not be a situation. So if I talk to a mother, if I'm about to say something that speaks only to single moms, and you say, well, I don't have a kid, so this doesn't apply to me, please don't take it down a notch. Don't visit the Temple Doom anyway. Take it down a notch. I'm trying to get something for everyone, and not everything applies to everyone at any particular time. All right, Jupiter, Florida, get ready. Jupiter, Florida is announcing 9,890, which include earned income tax credit and child tax credit. Jupiter, Florida is announcing that it is launching a program as a result of CARES Act 1, and it was announced in the last 24 hours, so go get it. Montgomery, Ohio. Montgomery, Ohio announced 3 new grant programs in the last 24 hours. These are for children and adult daycare and preschool. They're also for agricultural, they're also for healthcare, and they're also for related businesses. They can get up to $30,000 for expenses. $30,000? Either for already incurred or anticipated. So wow, you may not have incurred it and they're going to cover it. Applicants must be licensed with the Department of Ohio Education or be physically located in Montgomery County, Ohio. These organizations provide care and education to both children and adults. These services have been disrupted because of the pandemic. Amazing. Marion, next one. Marion, Virginia. Marion, Virginia announced overnight a new partnership for programs, and this is $250,000 in grant funds to assist small and local businesses. 100 businesses can get up to $2,000 in grant money to assist with losses and expenses. You must be a business located with the town of Marion and start applying by Friday, starting October 2nd. Wow, just see how recent this was. The application will be accepted as long as funds remain. So this is first come, first serve. This is what I talk to you about all the time. And will continue to November 16th. So this is a narrow window. This is an example of what I want you to understand. What you want to see here is that these programs are very narrowly open. They're open for a few weeks, and they're right there for you to get. As I detailed in every video yesterday, or almost every video, go to Twitter, go in the search bar, and type in the hashtag at P, the 2 letters of your state, like Florida, PFL, space, hashtag LALATE, and look for a self-appointed delegate. These are grassroots efforts by people who want to help you. Or if you're someone that's good in looking things up like I just detailed, you go on Twitter and say, hey, here I am. If you need help, I will help you with this. Additionally, if you are good with unemployment questions, also get on Twitter and say, here I am. I'm here to help. That's the spirit of this channel, and we continue to help each other. All right, next issue, landslide. There's a lot of new reports, and I'm not going over this for political purposes. I'm going over this for stimulus purposes. There's a lot of new reports today that says it's going to be an absolute categorical landslide. Donald Trump will be gone. The Senate will be Democrat. The House will be Democrat. And that literally the whole face of the country will change legislatively and executive branch. To me, it just indicates a clear lack of confidence in Donald Trump and these Senate races, says Stuart Stevens, a veteran Republican strategist who was in charge of Mitt Romney's 2020 campaign. There's now reports that Trump is absolutely in trouble. Democrats need to gain at least 3 seats. Now, this is very important because I've never gone over this. Democrats need to gain at least 3 seats to win the Senate. And that if Joe Biden's elected, but if Trump wins, they need to win 4 seats because by law, by constitution, Pence would be the deal breaker in the Senate. So a Biden win, they have to win 3 seats to take the Senate. If a Biden loss, then they have to take 4 seats. Next, McConnell's slim 53-47 majority. That's where we're talking about. McConnell is the head of the Senate. He has a 53-47 majority. By all indications, McConnell himself is going to get reelected, but will the rest be elected? Stuart Stevens says it's just not looking good. Now, let's turn to McConnell, and this sort of shows you what I need to express to you. The reason why the landscape of the political nature of this country as to stimulus may be flipped is because of the response to COVID. Ironically, Mitch McConnell has not been on party lines as head of the Republicans in the Senate for COVID response. Overnight, Mitch McConnell slammed his Democratic opponent, saying that she's not following CDC guidelines, that she refuses to get tested, and she refuses to understand the severity of COVID-19. Interesting. Unlike my opponent, I followed CDC guidelines entirely, adhered to my physician's advice regarding testing, and I've never exhibited any symptoms during the COVID-19 pandemic. Previously scheduled floor activities were scheduled. Okay, that's next thing. So what Mitch McConnell actually is exemplifying is that some Republicans who are in danger of losing their seats have not followed CDC guidelines or taken COVID-19 seriously for testing and for masks and other issues. And those are the ones who have tried to not give you stimulus and are now facing elimination from the Senate. Next, what's going on with the Senate floor? Well, as I said to you, legislatively, you should not focus your air breath or attention on it too much more. But overnight, Mitch McConnell said that previously scheduled floor activities rescheduled until October 19th have been further cleared. So basically, bottom line is, don't expect anything from stimulus to go through the Senate before or after October 19th. So as we sit here today, what's important to understand about stimulus and timelines and floor plans and dates going forward? What's important to understand is that you're not going to see a stimulus package passed by act of Congress before this election. It's just not going to happen. It would take an act of God and 15 reversals of our positions currently for that to happen. Could it happen by executive orders? Absolutely, yes. Could it happen by executive orders after the election? Yes. Could it happen by congressional action after the election but before January? What I need you to understand, however, is that the real path to stimulus at the moment looks like two possibilities. One, the first one you're not going to like to hear, is that the lame ducks, the people who lose their Senate seats, who lose the office of the president, may do nothing before they're out after the election. So there's that period of time from the election, November to January, they may do nothing, and that you may have to wait to January to see stimulus. Or second, executive orders. It shows you why the important purpose is to really push this president, because you really have a short time frame to get this president to react and do executive orders. And that if he doesn't do executive orders before the election, what's the next best hope? At the moment, certainly things change by the minute, at the moment the next best hope is to wait to January? Let me go over some of your incredible questions from yesterday. And there's 2,600 of them. Tonya, it seems like no one on Capitol Hill is giving any of the American people anything. Sharon, isn't they just plotting against the president in federal offense? Joseph, Mr. President, release our money by executive order. We need our money. David Jones, well, this clinches if Trump doesn't want to be president again. It does. If he doesn't want to be president again and he doesn't do executive orders, he is absolutely not going to be reelected. It's as simple as that. He's upwards of 10 to 15% behind in the polls. And, you can't expect to narrow those polls just on a Supreme Court nominee. Viola Wireless, our country doesn't care about the American people. Melvin, why doesn't everyone just stop looking at those places which are doing fine without the stimulus? Very well said. Shirley Miller, the president is doing nothing but talking, no action. Thank you for your comment, Shirley Miller. Marcia Mitchell, if they do nothing to remove her for office, they're as nutty as she is. Albert, the president's now forgetting about what he said he would do, and that's his fault. He has $300 billion he could spend. Wake up, Mr. President. I love that, Albert. Albert's clearly watching these recordings and understanding the situation, understanding the timeline. Vicky, it doesn't matter who you blame. It all comes down to Mitch McConnell. He has to say so. We're all suffering. Shirley Hukanza, the president's raising the amount to get Nancy moving. Clearly the money will go to Nancy's pork. Tim Boosie, I can't believe these people will get paid for doing almost nothing. Very well said. Rose Ramos, Nancy acts like she has all the power, but she can walk over the president. Robin Walker, y'all getting on my nerves. Talking Stacey Cobbs, but the phrase now defunct is another journalism mannerism. Francisco Lerma, Trump can do stimulus on his own and hasn't. What does that tell you for his disregard in November? It tells you he's really not on point. He's not focused. Robin Morales. It's sad how they don't care about us. Kimberly Quinlan. We need the names of 30 Republicans in their states who won't give us stimulus. Gene Daub. These are the politicians. They're so dumb. Greg Dunn. It sounds like false promises for both sides. Thomas Jones. Dolores Connors. She has a nerve to call everybody crazy. Nancy Scarzino. The president has said go big. Go big with who? We haven't gotten big. I love that comment, Nancy Scarcano. And B, this ought to be the remaining attention to Pelosi. Gene Miller, I bet this will come up with stimulus again if their checks were frozen. Oh, if their checks are frozen, amen. Neil Wagner sitting on their butts and do not need anything. S. Jimenez, everyone involved with all these negotiations needs to have their payroll stopped. Kate Rogers, I'm just annoyed. Velda, anyone who follows Trump doesn't realize any of this. There you go. Coming up next is 28. I got to tell you, in the last 2 days, I've recorded 28. Between morning to LALATE and when 28 comes up, something dramatic has happened. 2 days ago, the president raised his offer. Yesterday, Nancy rejected his offer. So something has literally happened between 8:30 and 12 noon every single day for the last 2 days. Let's see if it happens again. Go to Friend's channel, subscribe. Subscribe because we're keeping ourselves focused, we're keeping ourselves motivated, and keeping ourselves upbeat. Also, like this video. As always, tune in at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for 28. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay at LA for more.